This means that the individual's psyche is far from being safely synthesized. On the contrary, it threatens to fragment only too easily under the onslaught of unchecked emotions. While this situation is familiar to us from the studies of anthropologists, it is not so irrelevant to our own advanced civilization as it might seem. We too can become dissociated and lose our identity. We can be possessed and altered by moods or become unreasonable and unable to recall important facts about ourselves or others, so that people ask, "What the devil has gotten into you?" We talk about being able to control ourselves, but self-control is a rare and remarkable virtue. Hey there and welcome. This is the Joverton Window Buddy Movie Sotu stream for June the 1st and the 2024. I'm General Griswold Gaius Grim, your host. You are going to be presented momentarily with savings throws, where you have to choose between survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Prepare yourselves. Think about it. In the meantime, welcome everybody. Say hello to everyone in the hive mind. And then I watched a documentary on Jim Belushi, and this hive mind chat I'm seeing feels like the comedy radio show that existed just before SNL. Ladies and gentlemen, here you're swimming in mind control, and that's just if you count the billboards and other advertisements. Here you get a savings throw against that mind control, but you have to choose on which you will base that savings throw. You choose between survival, social, wisdom, or heart. I roll the die. If it's over 10, you take half damage. You've made your savings throw. If it's under 10, you take full damage, but at least you got a savings throw. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Survival is coming in with a solid 10. A 10 there for you. Lovers of socialism, that's a 4 for you. 4 for you. Sophists, on the other hand, bonuses don't apply. The +2 for the hive mind, nothing. To a nat 1, your bonuses don't apply. Hard folks coming in with the prime 17, and indigo kids with the number of transformation. The number of transformation for you. Welcome, Embody. This is a show. It's inspired by a journey I began last evening. What's a fella to do on a Friday night? Apparently, it's go down a rabbit trail, courtesy of one Pete of the Strange Theology. And we'll be taking that rabbit trail journey with you and coming out at the other side with some fancy things. The seven of hearts is the casino deck card for the show today. Oh, Mills is asking for it with his guess my mind is open to you today. Let's get everybody else on board.
A man is defined by his action, not his memory.
Remember, Embody.
Now open your mind to me.
There is no agency.
Open your mind. Open your mind.
It is through one known as Pete from Strange Theology that I became aware that the most recent State of the Union, the body movie Sotu, as the title implies, had occurred. Here's some of his coverage from his masterpiece, Do We Need the Devil? Joe Rogan and Duncan Trussell explore the problem of evil.
Some of the Duncan Trussell, Joe Rogan conversation, I always feel like Duncan and Joe are very good friends. And so their conversations are unique. And as you look at all the conversations that Joe Rogan has, seems to open up with Duncan. They get into some crude, areas, but they also stumble upon some very important areas within their conversation. The nature of evil, the nature of the devil. Is Jesus real? How do we save humanity? These are all topics that emerge in and amongst this dialogue. So I'm going to sift through it, and I'm glad you're with me.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Where did the devil come from?
Every time I watch Pete, I can't help but be reminded of this video.
Weird because it breaks a lot of the social.
It's very quiet.
I can't remember which one of the Weinsteins introduced this idea, but ran with it a little bit independently. Digital campfire. Weird because it breaks a lot of the social grammar. Your face is very large for me right now. No. That's the point. Mine is for you too, or for the viewers. I just met you. This is inappropriate intimacy. But the thing, all of that, no, it's thrown away. Its own grammar. At Rossano, the campfires, people are lit. It's like what you have in a circle.
Right.
Something very primordial, but it's also using it in this really novel way. Socrates is very critical. Of course, the problem with that is it's very intended. You're supposed to pay attention to that. That divide has been transcended, but it's also recorded with people moving between these conversations beyond that divide. It affords something really new in how we can interact with each other.
It's a really interesting playground, kind of postmodern tendencies with trial by fire, everything goes. And also searching for the connective tissue, right? That's very well said. That's briefly being embedded within it. It's been quite wonderful to watch the direct impact it's had on individual lives.
Yeah.
At the bonfire, we can sit and play music right?
Right.
And with this, people who have done such good work like yourself, who've put it into the medium, filtered down into the minds and the mouths of the people, and then we gather in small groups.
Oh, this is wonderful.
And recovered gems, little moments. Aha! This is what I've been doing my life. This meta extractable point, people that I've come into contact with, take the content of this dialogue right here, one person out of 100, somehow extract that piece and transmit it across time. Right? There are ways, and people are working. It's a fascinating way to level up finding insight.
Yeah. That's a
because I'm trying to turn the relapse into a recursion. And when I rage quit the last time I played was the same day I got my randos interview with my rando slot with Paul. No point when somebody pulled me aside and say, "You're a man now," you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I got to drink and I got to drive and I got, those rites of passage, but nobody said, "All right, unless you knock somebody up and they show up at the door with the responsibility." Our society is such that you don't ever have to grow up. You just, all you have to do is go to work and pay your bills, bro. That's the extent of being a man or woman, a fam. That's all we have left. I mean, there is no, how many people will argue for hours and hours about the president, Democrats and Republicans, that don't know the name of their mayor or their city council?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no civic responsibility. There's like that lady in the 80s did that "Where Have All the Good Men Gone" song.
Yeah.
And nobody has put out the song "They're Over Here." And if you go down the conspiracy route, it's because there's estrogen in the chicken. But there is studies that our testosterone levels are going down.
Yeah.
But the American society has been sold the dupe that it's a man's world. Yeah. And then they've convinced our little girls that motherhood isn't what they should aim for.
Yeah.
That raising functional human beings isn't an admirable vocation.
Yeah.
And that's spiraling.
Yeah.
Everyone can have everything they want, but the one thing you can't have is a relationship with another person, because that's completely at odds with the absolute limitlessness of the possibilities. Now, of course, Lewis didn't have the cyberspace, the awareness of cyberspace
metaphors
as we have it, but
so I can improve myself. One of the things that I wanted to mention is, I know this is annoyingly meta, but recursion is a vital aspect of, I don't know what Reiki would say. Basically, it's a vital aspect of cognition. We go back and we go back and we go back and we go back. And obviously, if you get OCD, you go back too many times for it to be productive and you lose your relevance realization. But the recursiveness of, even listening to myself and thinking, okay, this is helpful, this is not helpful. That focuses and narrows and refines and sharpens.
His imagination was already informed by the affluence of the Industrial Revolution. My unlimited affirmation cannot coexist with yours.
Internet has proven that. Since we're on the topic of, we've all come together and on the birth of the newest recursion of nuclear Cold War-isms, it's fun to point out that, just to bring my point home, that it was the fear of nuclear war that was one of the most attractive parts of the early internet. It was the idea that I could watch the TV and be told oh no, 30 more Palestinians were killed in this really complicated geopolitical scenario that I can't control a damn thing about, but I can then hop on the internet and actually go talk to Palestinians or go talk to Japanese people or go talk to just actual people that I'm seeing on the news for the first time. I was 13 and it just blew my mind. I'm I don't need...
Not now we can participate in this at a level we never could before.
The news, I'm actually talking to these people.
Branches of Special Operations Command, and it's more a fight now than it ever has been. And a matter of fact, it's that combined with some of the other things that are really Twitter is a form of intelligence in some regards, or can be used as a form of intelligence. And so much so that if you're on your phone in a combat zone, this is where it gets scary, and it's happened. So if you're on a phone in a combat zone, people can pick up on that signal. And what Russia does, and Russia does very well, right, is they'll take that signal, a drone will pick that up that's flying overhead, and within 15 minutes you have 155, or it's 152 millimeter cannons raining high explosive HE on you in mass.
His stuff about almost Christian reincarnation or eternal recursion, kind of, is that
theories, higher order thought theory, recursion, automatic processing, chunking, putting things together, et cetera, et cetera. Not even the newcomers had any illusion about the enemy's way of waging war. In other words, there's a relationship here between recursion and ritual, and it's about finding the practices in order to achieve an outcome. In that, so where does the story go from here?
Well, let's do the recursion on the Harvard experience. So get forward. So I do the entrepreneurship thing a couple of times, and am now skilled at it, good at it. I'm accomplished as a CEO and founder of tech companies, and both experienced and have relationships and reputation.
Yeah.
And I have enough money that I actually have fuck you money. Hey, neat. Yeah. And so I say fuck you and I retire. And for the most part, then my life kind of splits into, at this point, two pieces. One piece is family man, right? I actually am just taking my kids to school, which was beautiful. One of the best periods of my life was just taking my kids, hanging out with my kids and taking them to school. Yeah. I had been homeschooling, but I had neither the competence nor, at that point, the concept of that. So I took them to school, which is a terrible thing, but in any event. And a return to that story of higher horizons. And so just the same way that I had climbed from small town Texas boy to Harvard to take a look around, I now found myself invited into elite institutions and, elites, billionaires and Nobel Prize winners and heads of state and what would be the other one, captains of industry. And so I did. I went to various places. I was now flying private jets from black tie parties in New York City to trustee meetings in Santa Fe or wherever it happens to be. Private islands, not Epstein's. Fortunately, and interestingly enough, I think I have insight into how that happens, which is to say you're not dropped into Epstein's island at T0.
Right.
I've been invited through progressions.
Right.
And
there's a hierarchy.
There's a hierarchy, and wherever you stop is sort of where you stop.
Right.
And so I stopped pretty quickly because it turns out I wasn't interested in almost any of that. It just wasn't my vibe.
Yeah.
Other people.
LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard.
Griff harder, griff harder. Griff harder, griff harder. Griff harder, griff harder.
LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard.
Griff harder, griff harder.
That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay. Okay. We're doing this stream here, yeah? It's called the Joverton Window. And also Buddy Movie State of the Union, because that has happened in what is numerologically not the Joe Rogan episode 666, which was also a State of the Union, but in fact the Joe Rogan Experience episode 2157 with his good buddy Duncan Trussell, and that's why, of course, the Buddy Movie State of the Union is the title of this thing, and the Joverton Window. This is what the NightCafe Slave Art Box gave me for Duncan Trussell State of the Union. I think they view him fondly, apparently. But The Joverton window is just a dive into the notion that the mimetic gravity and impact of this agent, Joe Rogan, and his experiences, the at least purported listenership thereof as part of David Icke's mainstream Here's the alternative for the mainstream. Are you mainstream? No, I'm alternative. Which one? Well, the mainstream alternative, Joe Rogan and his experience, and I believe the Peterson Shapiro bubble is in that as well. Blue Church card of the show is the seven of spades. Now, on these cards over here today, I have but the fantasy of a timeline that's similar to this one and not this one. So let's just go into like some of the timestamps we have from the buddy movie State of the Union. And then, I also have Civic Cision on the card here, and that was based off the Papa Peterson tour lecture that was released after on demand by Paul Vanderklay, which was fascinating. But this is the Joverton window stream. So here's the thumbnail timestamp you have right there: 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 33 seconds.
Like, like Doblin, he's having meetings in the fucking Pentagon.
Right. I think the consciousness has changed. The zeitgeist has changed. And it has because of the internet. Because, you can hear Terrence McKenna lectures. You can hear Alan Watts. You can hear people talking about it. You could watch documentaries on psychedelics. You could see what MAPS has done. You can see all the podcasts that Doblin's gone on. I mean, how many people are we talking about? The big...
I told you about the salt water that was going to come to your estuary. I told you. It's here now.
Exposed to these ideas that were never exposed to them when we were kids.
Yeah.
When we were when you and I were kids, when we were in high school, you didn't hear fucking shit. There's this one dude who was a drug addict and he hung out over there and he's a loser. And you didn't hear a peep about shamanic rituals and Gordon Wasson going down to Mexico and getting all the mushrooms and and doing these ceremonies with these traditional shaman down. You didn't hear any of that. You didn't hear any of
nothing.
Nobody knew what the fuck was going on when we were kids. They silenced it. They threw water on one of the biggest cultural revolutions that's documentable.
And my, Duncan, how well we have done in selling that cultural revolution. Also in the fascinating clip I timestamps for some reason.
I think it's everything I said in the show, but like, here's the thing.
Wait a minute.
I'm friends with some Satanists. and they're so nice, and they're so like, they don't hurt fucking kids. They like really look down on that shit. Like there's no like, so I think there's one like Levian Satanism. I don't know the whole story and I'm probably wrong, but like the problem is like, you can only go off of what you've experienced. And I've met, you came to the fucking wedding I did. And like,
and before I go into this, I want to say that, I one of the regrets I have is that I was not more of a clip it and save it for later sort of thing, because there was this part when Duncan's channel on the YouTube had a very fascinating episode, and it seemed to involve Kevin Spacey, and that was just you had to be there. And then he did a Milking Ravens animatron series. It was so much Trussell I watched. He reminds me of me a lot, so I pay close attention to the archetype.
Tricked me into that. Now everybody thinks I'm a Satanist. Son of a bitch.
So hard with the
son of a bitch. That picture comes up all the time.
When the picture pops
you
up,
son of a bitch,
dude. It is.
I thought I was taking a photo for some dork who thinks he's a Satanist, who's the grandson of that guy, and he's getting married. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll take a picture with you. Fuck, whatever I did.
Oh, dude, it's so
I think
funny.
we did the horns.
You're so far from a Satanist. I'm not a fucking Satanist. But
right, but now everybody thinks I am because you son of a bitch. So let's tell the story to everybody, because Duncan has the greatest comedy routine that I've ever seen.
Thanks, man.
I don't want to say too much about it, but this particular comedy routine involves demonic possession.
Remember it. This agency. We want.
find there is as the story of Dinner with the Satanists, as well as that clip I clipped earlier, and also highlightable. Highlightable was this moment. And
Twin Peaks was great.
Creatures hiding in your closet. David, thank you for bringing me. Thank you, David.
I have an idea for your next
What are you talking
film.
about? The sound you make with a mouthful of panties.
Dude, yeah, well,
The sound you make with a mouthful of panties.
I have an idea for your next film.
What are you talking about? The sound you make with a mouthful of panties. And the problem is, it's like what I taught whenever you do a survey, people say, "Oh, the survey is this." Like, no, you don't get a real percentage. I don't give a fuck what your study says. You only get 100% of the people that are on your survey are so fucking dumb that they reply to surveys.
The list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room?
I want to cast Magic Missile. The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet.
I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
I think I was going to let that one run some more. Ship Clerk, your branding was too big for StreamYard. You have to get it under 200 megabytes for me to be able to play it. Shrink it down somehow. Ups knows how. I tried it. It would not load in, sir. I apologize. Oh, let's see if there was anything more I wanted to hear them say.
This is not everybody.
Exactly.
It's not even close.
Exactly.
It's just like comments. Who the fuck leaves comments? How do you have time?
I think about that all the
Unless you're like, good job, congratulations, being nice. Who has time?
Yeah.
If you do, there's no chance you're devoting the proper amount of time to things in your life that you should.
Right.
So it's this massive distraction, and you get these arguments online that distract you from the failures in your real life. But that is representative in a lot of people's minds to how people think about whatever this person posted or whether this political argument that people are having about things. But that's not real. And then
that part you mentioned earlier, I didn't find the clip of.
You've got the algorithm manipulation we were talking about, which is even more crazy.
Right.
Like now, not only do you...
Yeah, you can assume that if you see a comment, everybody sees the comment. Not true. The algorithm has now been found to custom tailor which comments you do and do not see. Do and do not see. Okay, do and do not see. Do and do not see. There's something there. There's something there. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're feeling virtually not alone. Have a shanty.
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. Just lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
All right, then. So then now you see that Joe Overton has what I call a mimetic penetration, that allows him to shift what is and is not acceptable discussion in the public sphere, and therefore it's the Joverton window, right? And then you see also how like his occasional episodes with Duncan Trussell are like a buddy movie, State of the Union. With a big normalization because they're all in the Joverton window. You make those connections and understand how I've now delivered on the thumbnail image, the thumbnail title, and the title of the stream in the following way by making that coverage and statement. Additionally, I have on this card a fantasy from a timeline where I did not fail so hard, and we'll be going over that briefly, shortly, soon, right after some stuff.
I believe that if everyone sees what just a few people become when they wholly embrace their gifts, others will awaken.
Oh yes, I wanted to show you the algorithm gave me something, and this was what I thought was like at least in part a beautiful little black mirror. So so here's me sharing that with you.
Hello. So today I've got competing ideas on what I want to talk about, and I'm going to have to show some discipline in keeping the two separate, because I recently had a conversation with a friend that alerted me to the fact that my work in defining consciousness is by no means complete. In my mind, I think, well, I've explained how that works. That's good enough. Let's move on to the next thing. But in reality, it's the kind of work that is probably never going to be finished. Not in my lifetime, anyway. So I want to try and illustrate this with a couple of examples. First off, the definition of consciousness is an organic process. This process is going on, wait, let's just give the definition. An organic process, mimetically driven or fueled, leading to this unique, interior, self-aware mind space, individuality. The organic process tells us that this is ongoing. This is happening right now in every individual on the planet. This is something that will happen, will continue to happen as time goes by, regardless of how we treat the subject. It is just a
It was a really fascinating view into someone's internal publicized struggles with monetization and such, and how that was a mirror. Don't forget, there's a Ko-fi link at the top of the hive mind over there. Now, just to run through this fantasy timeline where I didn't. You'll see. Okay, so in the fantasy timeline that we are not in, what happened was I got with somebody by the name of Joshua Dixon, recent channel member, and we formed a company, an entertainment company called Dragon Slayer Memetics. And then also there was a sub company formed called the Lobster Monkey Lighthouse. The Lobster Monkey Lighthouse became a channel where reapers and such would not only present the reaper's harvest that I keep failing to do, but also would do distillates from things like the State of the Union we just witnessed with the Joe Rogan Overton window, like the distillates from those and other key online events that are buried in 3 hours of length. The important bits can be extracted for real-time internet entity historical observation. We're watching history as it unfolds together by watching the people who are shaping the consciousness of the public together, and that would be a thing. And but that didn't happen, or hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's a future timeline. I don't know, and I don't know why I put any of it on the card. Let's do an agency deck card for the show and leave you to your fabulous weekend after, I don't know, an episode I hope made you think and feel virtually not alone. And Afriel has not beaten me out of StarCraft. I have this plan that there's a fella named Afriel hangs around here. He's going to kick my arse in StarCraft 2 so hard I'll never play it again. And we're going to stream that game, at least my end of it, for you to enjoy. But that's it. Looking forward to that. Also look forward to who is now a fella who used to be somebody else with the black and white makeup. He's now the German dragon. I'll be talking to him on Thursday. Be excited for that. Be excited for that. There may be some more teaser build up before we get there. Agency deck card of the show is the ace of diamonds. Enjoy, Embody. I'm sorry, we have a demand from the hive mind, and it's one I can't not obey.
I listen to him. I think he is telling us the truth. That is indeed what he wants. Those of you who are sort of sniffing for duplicity or grift or dishonesty, I don't smell any of that here. I think
Now what'll that asshole think of next? Is anybody got a dime? I don't know.
There you go. There you go, sir.